What's up, guys? Bullish Bear Stand here, and I'm going to review a couple stocks that I'm watching here for trade setups. These are not recommendations to buy and sell. I just wanted to kind of share some of the technical analysis that I do for our community and how I trade. So we are taking a look at Netflix here. I've got a 4-hour versus daily chart up. What does 4-hour versus daily mean? It just means that I'm looking at a 4-hour time frame and how it interacts with daily moving averages or indicators. So all of the lines that you see on this chart, these are all daily moving averages. We also have the daily Ichimoku cloud, and we have MACD, daily MACD, and we can actually toggle on, if we wanted to, any other 4-hour indicator on this particular chart. But I'm not going to do that right now, at least not on this chart. I will briefly toggle on the 4-hour indicator for MACD, which is pretty much lined up with the daily. You can see when the 4-hour MACD crosses below the daily MACD line, that is kind of generating a sell signal. You can see it right here when we hit this top, which is our all-time high. We then made another short-term top here, kind of creating this trend line. And we now got price right back at this 4-hour trend line. So we're kind of stalling out a little bit around 535, 536. And momentum, if you zoom in, I'm going to expand this MACD here. So you can see, just similar to this particular top, we've got the 4-hour crossing below the green line on the MACD. So that is the slower moving. And what we see here is that actually this cross right here, that was a kind of a sell signal. So even though we've kind of looks like price is getting a little bit outside of this trend line, overall, I think that there's a really good chance that this ends up failing and fading and, back tests some of these daily moving averages or the cloud. Now, I could be wrong. This could actually break out and confirm. If it does hold and we see green closes over this line, over this trend line here, then I'll be looking at 560 to 561 for a profit target. That's the overall channel that it's been trading in. Now, a lot of the major stocks have been, FANGs in particular, have been making this kind of giant ascending pattern, and different stocks are in different positions right now in that pattern. So Amazon is one that in particular broke that pattern. So you can kind of just get an overall feel of the overall ascending on the 4-hour. There was a fake one, then it again broke out, back tested it, and you can even really look at this as several other ascending patterns within ascending patterns here, really, depending on where you draw your angular support lines from. So that's Amazon. We've also got Apple. That's in a similar kind of triangle, ascending triangle breakout. It's still very bullish. We've already, the best time to really get it was in the mid 130s here. And, we're approaching earnings towards the end of the month. So, we'll probably start to cool off a little bit, just like looking at this MACD zone. This MACD zone through here, yeah, we started to stall out. This is a breakout. Could we go out here? So this is kind of like ideally where the daily MACD, last time we made a huge move, that's where we began to sell off. I think this might have been around when the reverse split was. I'm not sure offhand. I don't have that marked out on the chart. Let's see. Can we mark that? Oh, we can mark splits. Yeah, there it was. So TrendSpider now lets you mark splits, which is pretty cool. You can toggle that on and off. So that's Apple. But back to Netflix. This will be interesting to see if we end up stalling here. Might be good for a bear call spread. If it holds and maintains its position above this trend line, then we could be heading towards 560. It would be fun to day trade in that scenario, or potentially swing trade but more than likely I would day trade that position. Directionally, probably doing calls. If I was going to do a swing trade, I would more than likely do a spread, whether it's a bear call spread or a bull put spread. So that's Netflix. The other one I wanted to look at, I was looking at closely today, was NIO. So first, I want to turn off the indicators so you can just kind of see the clear pattern. We had a top here, pretty big move down, top here, really big move down. Again, we bumped into this level and pretty big move down. Now, what I'm concerned about is, are we forming up a head and shoulders pattern on the 4-hour? We got our right shoulder right there. We got our head forming right there, and we could have another shoulder forming in this zone. So 44.50 has been the buy zone. It was a sell zone before, but right now it's been a buy zone. We back tested this 1, 2, 3 times, and if we are able to hold this zone, there's a potential for a move back up to this trend line again, 51 area. Again, this is a moving target, so anywhere in that 51, 51.50, 50 zone. If 44.50 does not hold, I think that there's potential for more downside. We're kind of more or less stuck. If you notice on this chart, we were making higher highs for a while. We haven't been making higher highs for quite a while. When we look at this high, and this high, they're all lower than the previous. So momentum is definitely not in the bulls' favor. But if we're able to break this trend line and keep pushing, that could be really good for NIO longer term. But take a look, we're making lower lows on the 4-hour, really going back to last year, since, well, if we start from here, right? So beginning of this year really has been the toughest point. But this trend line is still a potential downside target. And that's a situation where if we were to break this 44.50, that's probably where I would sell bear call spread. So I'd be, buying some calls, selling some calls, and profiting as the stock drops. I'll post a link to our blog post about spreads in the link in the description. So that's kind of what I'm watching for NIO. I want to build a position out of 44.50. If I see some really good price action coming off of this line, if that were not to hold, I would, cut and reverse and look to take a bearish play on this and look for some continuation to the downside. So just in a really good spot. So this is the kind of pattern, looking at the channel, looking at the head and shoulders, looking at the demand zone, buy zone, where buyers are coming in, and I know where resistance is. This is kind of how I would formulate my plan. I just want to toggle real quick and show you with indicators. So now I've got the daily indicators. So Ichimoku is saying bullish. We're above the cloud on the 4-hour. Got a bullish future. It would really need to hold the cloud. Again, 44.50 is pretty close on that cloud zone too. And one thing that I don't like is the MACD here. So you can see when 4-hour started to get below the daily MACD, we've had some problems in the past where it didn't continue. Like this was starting to make a cup and handle, but it failed. And then it really started to fail through here. And again, we broke this. This was bearish all through here. And now we're still kind of stuck in this more or less bearish momentum. It's not really that strong. We've got the 0 line right out here. So we are just briefly in the bullish zone, but already the 4-hour is back, almost back below that 0 zone. It's almost like we're in a wedge on the 4-hour MACD. So interesting setup. Going to watch it closely. Definitely a fun one when it moves. We've traded this a lot in the past. I remember trading it all through here in 2020. This was so fun to capitalize on the momentum. But, again, we've got the 200 pointing up. We got the 50. So longer term, these daily moving averages are still pointing up. This is the 200 down here. This is the 100. 50's kind of mixed up in here somewhere, or do I have that toggled off right now? No, it's the purple one right through there. Looked black on my screen for a moment. So those are kind of my thoughts. I think that as we get closer to end of July, we're going to have a lot of earnings. We're going to have Apple, we're going to have Netflix. All the big dogs are going to be reporting. So next couple of weeks could be kind of choppy as people get into position for those earnings. So whatever you guys decide to do, just trade responsibly, try to plan ahead on what's happening, and look for these good technical setups. That's it, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy.